Tens of thousands of football fans came to Highbury. Electrifying.
Yes, guys! Welcome back to the unhinged, the undefeated, and the unbreakable TCP Live, coming at you live at 7:30 p.m. every Thursday evening. We are back. We are bang on time this evening on YouTube and available ad-free on YouTube memberships and Patreon. And I'm furious!
Do you know, actually, I've actually been rattled on Twitter this week.
What's happened?
No, not rattled, but maybe a little bit. I hate when you tweet something that goes a little bit against the grain of the manager and you disagree with him. And then the response is, oh, you've not done your coaching badges. Why are you talking about this? You know what? Let's all just not talk about football because 99% of us do not have our coaching badges. We don't. So we can't talk about football. We can't.
That is the one. Everyone should be unified against that comeback. In any context, it's not even just on Twitter. It's any context. Well, you haven't
any
managed,
context.
You like on the terraces. You haven't managed to see him. What do you know? Okay, so the only way you're allowed to talk about football is if you've managed a Premier League team.
So none of us also should be allowed to vote in the election. We're not politicians.
No. Well, we haven't been prime minister. It's not even that we haven't been prime minister. So
yeah, exactly. So
I'm furious, Roham.
Go on.
I'm absolutely raging at this disgraceful behaviour. I don't want to see it in my sport. I don't want to see it in anywhere in society. It's absolutely disgusting. And until we take a stand against this sort of stuff from Kylian Mbappe, which he deserves to be banned for, the sport will never move on.
I mean,
he deserves. I think a 2-match ban. I think specifically a 2-match ban. What do you? It doesn't need 3.
Hold on, we can't even see the picture.
You can't see it.
Now we can.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
He needs a 2-match ban. It doesn't need anything longer, but that is the most disgraceful thing I've ever seen in the sport. It's setting a horrible example to children.
Absolutely.
He should not be allowed to play in any. Well, he can play in the semi-finals if he gets through, but he should not be allowed to play in the quarterfinals. And I can see someone taking their shirt off in the background as well. Yep. That's got to go. Yep. That's got to go. Who's that? Valverde. He should be banned. Rodrigo, what's he doing? He looks too happy. I think ban him. I think ban them all.
Yeah,
that's my position. What do you think?
They can only field an 11 of Danny Ceballos.
And that's in many ways what everyone's dream is. Just 11.
Just 11 Danny Ceballos spinning around.
I'm spinning around, out of my way. Right. It's Danny Ceballos. Okay. No, I'm not going there. I'm not going there.
Go on. This is a nice place.
In a better Arsenal team.
Yeah, he would have done better. He would have.
I think he would have cooked a little bit.
He would have.
I am, of course, referencing the fact there is a rumor. Well, there's actually no. To be fair, it's not even more than a rumor. Decent reporting. We start off the show this evening. Mike Keegan in the Daily Mail says Arsenal could be set for a huge Champions League boost with 4 Real Madrid players facing a ban: Mbappe, Vinicius Jr., Rudiger, and Mr. Spinning Around, all being investigated. All being investigated by UEFA. It's absolutely slaps. And the footage sent by Atletico could speed up the probe. But yeah, seen some. It's been in the Mail, it's been in the Telegraph and stuff. What do you make of that?
I mean, it's a very exciting story until you realise who Real Madrid's president is.
Thanks everyone for being here on TCP Live. Arpit was first in the house. It says here for the educational podcast. I was just looking at your picture, Arpit. Arpit's a cool name.
Yeah, that is, isn't it?
Arpit. Vlad says here for the banter. Hi, Vlad. Vincent, hi. Don't know, hi. Yash, how I miss Thursdays. It is Thursday, Yash. Enjoy it.
And do you know what that means?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Do you know what that means, Alexander?
Oh, another episode of Alan Sugar.
See that?
Alan Sugar. Oh, Alan Sugar. I'm not doing that again.
Do not do that again.
Ads says, I'm only here till The Apprentice starts with a Quagmire profile picture. Kieran52 says, I bet it's Alex's fault they're late. We weren't late, Kieran. And thank you for changing your picture. I got another trim today.
Picture.
Got another trim.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cooking.
But...
Oh, you're going for the burst fade, I think it's called.
But that's...
We spoke about this many times.
Yeah. We want to come to many things this evening. We need to do a thumbnail check in a second. I want to talk about Trent. We, of course, I need to cover the Saka return. I might dare to talk about Erdegaard and one area again. More thoughts. Because someone video I think is interesting to talk about. And then the main thing we're going to do is rank every Arsenal player's 24-25. If you thought we'd scrape the barrel for international...
Do we do it in a tier list or are we...
Oh, mate, of course it's a tier list.
You've got it. You've got it.
I can't say too much.
Oh,
but there is potentially another show coming on the Cannon podcast that is I haven't even told you about it.
No,
but it's kind of in this ilk. So we'll reveal that down the line potentially. It's all potential. Trent, let's start there. Actually, no, let's come to some super chats. We have some super chats, and we need to do our thumbnail check as well. Snob says, "Can we have a Maoist China-esque struggle session where George is forced to read the Scott Willis Erdegaard piece out loud?"
Have you seen the piece?
I haven't read it. I quite like Scott Willis though, so I feel bad.
Yeah, I don't mind Scott Willis.
I feel bad because
we're mutuals.
Yeah, I like Scott.
Yeah, he does good stuff. He does really good.
He does very good stuff. I mean, we use him a lot on here, but maybe we should do that. Do you know what would be good actually? If I don't know the context on this. If George and Scott could jump on a stream, I always enjoy content when people just like really disagree about stuff. No. It's when people really disagree about stuff. I find it really interesting because, like, most football content is people who are like pretty close in view. Do you know what I mean? Like, we maybe disagree on a couple of things, but you and I, but not really. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's like, it's interesting, isn't it? Because imagine you just had a podcast where you had two like complete polarizing opposites,
but that would get tiresome. Like the things I think.
Do you think it becomes too forced as well, perhaps, or because you become this kind of like you're of this opinion, then you are of this other opinion, and you both are very like stubborn in your ways, and that's how you think, and then it's like the same type of story every single week. Like Arsenal lose, let's say, person who doesn't like Mikel rants, person who likes Mikel trying to justify it, and then so on and so on.
You end up just saying the same stuff, right? Yeah. There's a politics podcast called The Rest Is Politics with Alistair Campbell and Rory Stewart, and I used to really like it because they genuinely disagreed about topics, and you could kind of hear where both of them were coming from. But now they just agree on everything, and it's like it's tricky because I feel like almost by doing the podcast they've kind of come closer together. So I imagine that would happen anyway. Because naturally, when you're in conversation, you don't want to be constantly in disagreement with the other person. You like someone might say something that you disagree with, and this is why, like, you know, when people watch conversations that happen, they go, well, "Why didn't you pick up on that thing that person said? You don't agree with that." You don't want to constantly be disagreeing. It's boring. It's hard. But maybe we should get them if there's like I don't know what the context is, but if there's a big like difference in view. Maybe we could get them on a stream or something. Malachi says, Alex, my friend, do you know or your channel graduate first? Because the guy sounds exactly like you. Let me know if you want the link. Love the content for real. You both and I need that Madrid ticket. We need that.
Thank you so much for the super chat.
Thanks, Malachi.
Yeah.
Sorry for my butchering of the reading.
Yeah.
I'm hearing myself on your end again.
I feel like it's your headphones, is it?
Do you think it is?
I feel like, yeah.
Can anyone else in the comments, can you hear? Sorry, we'll come back to this in a sec. Can anyone else hear me on Rohan's end? It could just be me.
Please, chat, help us.
I think what it is you've got me too loud in your ears. That's what I think it is. Oh, everyone's saying no. It's probably me then. Just me.
I think so. Yeah.
Just me. There you go. Oh well. So yeah, I mean, I need a ticket to the Madrid game. If anyone in the chat can get me a ticket to the Madrid game, I'll kiss you. I'll name my firstborn child after you. Probably don't want the kiss, do you?
It'll happen.
I'll name my firstborn child. I kind of, I don't really like my normal ticket plugs of all.
Because they're treasure. This game's absolute treasure.
That's what I mean.
That's
they're going to the game themselves. Oh,
that was 2006. Like that was the last time playing Madrid. So I'll be there.
You'll be there. Have you got tickets?
I haven't, but I will be there.
How?
I will get one.
How?
I just trust in the process. I trust in the process of me getting a ticket. My logic is right.
Why are you not being more specific?
Every time, I swear to God, every time I've wanted to get a ticket, eventually I've got one.
What a mate.
So that's what I'm going with. I'm going with the law of average there. Like, I think I'll get one. But if anyone has got one, then yeah, let me know.
Then he says, Alex. He says, Alex, I'll give you mine if we can guarantee we sign Isak. Tell you what, do you know what we should talk about?
Yeah.
So on the main pod on Monday or Tuesday, we had a question. I think it was from Dinny, which just reminded me on the Discord. And I want to know what people think, and I want you to back your opinion if you take it. So the question was, would you lose Saka this summer for a guaranteed Champions League and League double?
I've changed my mind. You
changed your mind?
Yeah.
Let me know what you think in the chat.
I wasn't thinking straight.
He wasn't thinking straight. People in the chat say, is it peer pressure? It's got to you.
No. But you know me. I'm more than happy to change my opinion. More than happy to. I got it wrong.
Never.
I got it wrong.
That's crazy.
Genuinely, I don't know why I didn't think through it more. Like, I would take the double. I'm starving.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. We never won a Champions League.
I would.
Denny, thank you for your. I thought you had a super chat. No, thank you. Trent. Trent is supposedly on his way to Real Madrid. What have you made of the response to this? I mean, I feel like, sometimes, the response to this has been crazy. Again, you've got to it's social media attacks, and I feel like we need to just put that in every single time. But there are Liverpool fans. I was listening to the response on TalkSport. A lot of people were calling in and being like, he's ruined his legacy and all this sort of stuff. I think some of this is just going to be immediate response and immediate reaction. Long term, I think people will come to terms with this and be okay with it. But yeah, what did you make of it? And what do you think about the move? How would you feel if you're a Liverpool fan, etc.?
I think a lot of it is social media attacks. I think a really significant portion of Liverpool fans will appreciate what he's done for the club. I mean, he's won everything for them, So, and it's kind of like, it's very similar, right? So there's someone I know who's a West Ham fan, and the Declan Rice to Arsenal transfer, again, he says, like, I go to him and say, what are your thoughts on West Ham fans and the way they are with Declan Rice leaving you, despite the fact that he won the Conference League with you, leaving on good terms, and he's gone to Arsenal. And I was of the opinion, like, it feels like, there's a lot of unfair hate towards Rice on that move. And he was like, it's literally just like online tax. He was saying, and this is someone who goes every single West Ham game, every single game. Like, and
that said, though, they do boo him.
Yeah, but that's. I still think he's a very small minority. I really do. And he what he alluded to, and he said I think he's in his 50s, and he's like, it is that new generation social media who, because of who it's gone to, and Arsenal and West Ham having this sort of like weird rivalry now. I think that's what's fueled it, and it's become more of those younger fans who are really kind of propelling that sort of perspective. But in the reality, a lot of West Ham fans, most West Ham fans appreciate Rice. I'm not saying Rice and Trent is the same sort of comparison, but it's still similar in the sense of someone who's been there for a very long time. Won West Ham there, I don't know when their last trophy was. And Trent's been phenomenal. And I think that his impact is very understated, because what he offers to Liverpool, and I think we got a little bit of a glimpse to it as well in the Newcastle game. Now, it's a very small sample size, but I tweeted in that game, afterwards, like Liverpool seem void of ideas. And when they are struggling to create, it does tend to come from Trent, who is that first player to, whether it's playing that pass inside the block or the ball over the top, he's the one who initiates it. And I think not having that is going to be a massive miss for Liverpool, and they're going to have to try and find a way to improve upon that creativity. Because despite how excellent Salah has been, and it's been an unprecedented season that he's had, someone has to feed him. Someone has to be able to platform him in that way. And it's not just the system and how Arne Slot keeps him higher. It's the players he has in deeper areas who can deliver that pass and can initiate the attack. And that's what Trent does. So he's a phenomenal player. Like he's ridiculous.
When we look at this, there is no other. Trent is mentioned in this. If you're listening, this is zone wise. The top 2 expected threat creators from open play passes per 90 from our favorite account in the world.
I did tell him.
Your
him
mates.
well.
Your mates at this point.
Yeah, he's Indian as well. Indian brothers.
People shout out my name as well. We'll come to that in a second. Trent is mentioned how many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in 5 different zones. He's the most threatening passer across the pitch, across the Premier League in 5 different zones. That is absolutely. We have 3 players. Arsenal have 3 players overall.
Yeah.
Trent is in 5 different zones. It's absolutely so. Yeah, I think what you're right about in terms of replacing it and the threat he provides and just that quality. And it's what you always say, mate. Like we come back to it, as Roy Keane always says. Quality.
It always
like
dictates.
We can spend all this time talking about systems and whatever, but quality it always dictates. Look, just quickly on Trent, and I've got super chats. I want to come to it. Thank you so much. I think people will get over it. I think, to be honest, the part I understand the frustration on is losing him for no fee. You could go, well, I think I saw my best friend talking about him on social media on Sky earlier, and he was saying, but we didn't pay a fee for him. Well, hang on, you've been paying him £200,000 a week or whatever it is for the last couple of years, and you've spent all that time developing him. You have spent money on him. That's how it works. But I kind of understand the thing about the fee. But what I would say is that frustration when players leave for free, it feels like it almost should be on the player. Hang on a minute. What about all the sporting directors who haven't signed him up for a contract? What about all the times where they didn't take a fee back in January, where I think they offered, and you could say, well, it was a ridiculous offer. Okay, but he didn't decide not to take the fee. He probably would have gone in January. Who knows? So yeah, I think that maybe some of it could be down to Trent, but the idea that all of that is on Trent, that he went for he didn't go for a fee, and that's some slight against his boyhood club. Come on. It's not him.
Yeah, it's also, I don't like this idea of we're looking at it strictly from financial terms in terms of specifically the transfer fee. What Trent has offered to Liverpool is an enormous amount of money in terms of the honours that they've won, the Premier League, the Champions League, the Cops as well. You have to consider that as well. So, and you mentioned the wages as well. So it's all money in a certain way, and I just don't understand that sort of mindset. I personally, I obviously can't police Liverpool fans in terms of how they should feel, but from the outlook, like that's a generational player in terms of what he offers on the ball and what he's given to you. I think just cut him some slack if you do have that opinion genuinely. Like,
I've just realised something.
Yeah,
Malachi, I think it is me. Because I used to do voiceovers for a YouTube channel called Graduate First. It probably is me. Can you link it in the chat and I'll watch it and we can say I used to do voiceovers. I think that is me. Boodishan says, "Hey lads, Scottish Arsenal and Rangers fan here." Ooh. Hey lads, Scottish Arsenal and Rangers fan here. Love the content. I have a massive Havertz 10 odd. I'm so sorry. I have a massive Havertz 10 Odegaard 8 MLS inverted 8 Rice 6 agenda. Am I cooked? Keep up the amazing work. Come on, you guys. Thank you so much for your very kind super chat and sorry about my horrendous accent.
He's referring to a diamond.
Yeah, I don't hate that. What do we feel about Havertz in the midfield? I mean, because we're all hankering for attacking signings. Havertz ain't staying guaranteed as centre forward.
I think what he's alluding to is the diamond in which you have Rice at the base, Miles Lewis-Skelly coming from left back, coming inside, tucking in, and then you've got Kai Havertz drifting between the lines, playing off the striker. And I think this system Yeah, so I think this system. This is. I got into a little, not an argument, but I just get frustrated, right? In which this idea. Have you seen that meme where it's like? Have you seen that meme where it's like Pep, he's doing all of that, and then it's just Don Carlo just doing his eyebrow going.
Or there's a guy who's like outside a nightclub, and he's like,
Oh
like,
yeah, so when
Chelsea
Lukaku,
is so funny. Yeah.
that is when the wingers can come inside. But I think you will see that happen. I think Havertz in midfield nominally will happen a lot against teams who play the back five, because with the diamond, it's very easy for you to push 6 across the last line. And we've done that in many games when we've had players fit. Like, if you look back at the Crystal Palace game, for example, playing a back five, Havertz was in midfield in that game with Jesus up top. So, and you can go all the way back to last season as well, the Nottingham Forest game as well, with Eddie Nketiah up top and then Havertz in midfield. So it tends to be against that sort of system in which we do like to go with that avenue, because of the amount of players it allows us to get in advanced positions quickly to overload the last line. So yeah, I can see that happening for sure.
No, I like that. And I just reminded me of a piece that I read yesterday from HTO, the guy on the overlap. This guy.
He's really good.
HTO, do you know what? He's really good.
Yeah, he's really good.
And I like people who can... I think sometimes it's a bit verbose and kind of too many words. Like this thing, he did like 57 examples, and you're like, okay, I get it. But this is a really good article, to be fair. It's talking about the back five chain and just a trend. Basically, the idea of teams in a more basically a hybrid approach to deal with 5 across the back line, to deal with the kind of the Pep thing of the 2.5 spaces, 1 up top and 2 wingers, that sort of thing. How teams are defending differently to create 5 without losing anything in terms of an attacking impetus or threat or whatever. Because obviously you can stick with 5 at the back, but then you lose something going forward. And how do people deal with that? And it's different ways of doing it. So Brentford use Jan out. I think there was a time with Arsenal where we're using Timber in a different way and stuff like that. There's a lot of examples he uses. And yeah, I think with Havertz, with someone of that athletic quality, I think he can absolutely be someone who drops in maybe a little bit deeper to help deal with those sorts of situations. And then in attack, it maybe could be a dual centre forward type situation. I don't know. But yeah, the hybrid roles, we all want to go, he's a centre mid, he's a centre forward, whatever. I think eventually, and I hope eventually, we'll start talking about football in possession, out of possession, because that's going to be a way easier way of talking about it. What do you do in possession? What do you do out of possession? What do you do in the middle? And instead of positions or formations, it would just be that. And I think Havertz could find himself being one of the forefront of those conversations. Well, this is a player who doesn't have a position. He's 3 different things in 3 different phases of play. And I see a lot of use for him, 100%.
Yeah, I think that is one of the ways in which you can actually dismantle a team that does look to surrender possession and withstand pressure by being in a scenario in which they're happy to defend without the ball. And it can become very difficult. I mean, you look at England, for example. I don't know if you caught any of the games. Like, it's very similar in terms of how teams are setting up out of possession, in deeper areas. And regardless of the quality that you're coming up against, it is quite difficult to dismantle these blocks. And the best way to do it is through those rotations and having that freedom within your structure. Structural rigidity. No. Rigid fluidity. Fluidity.
Order and chaos. Light and dark. Salt and pepper.
Yin and yang.
Rohan and Jivan. Gulishan, thank you so much for your super chat. Very kind of you. Right. Let's talk about it.
How happy were you? And so I finished work and I saw it. I thought, wow.
I literally did a little... For those who can't see this, I'm just doing like a little...
When you're at a game, right? Have you ever done it here when someone's got it down the byline, they put it in the box, you can see one of your players, they've risen like a salmon. Is it salmon? Rose like a salmon. Yeah.
Like a salmon, yeah.
And he's hanging in the air, and you're there with him, heading that ball up. Go on.
What, the little.
Little. A person's next to you, like, what are you doing? You're not playing.
I love that. We all do that thing where you're watching. I was playing pool at a bar in Wimbledon the other night, and the Wales game was on. I was like, make that run. what are you doing? Make that. And you're like, you can't help yourself. It obviously can't hear you, but you can't help yourself. Like, space is there, bro. Craig Bellamy. Christ. We didn't do thumbnail check.
Yes.
Here it is. Are we ready? Forder. 3, 2, 1. So what? I love the concept. Has he put his own logo up here?
Oh, yeah. We love it.
I respect it.
I love it. I think the colours work really nicely.
I think the colours look good.
Yeah.
I like the sort of the spray paint idea. He's carried it through. It's not, it's not just like the background. It's sort of it's all kind of there. I don't understand ACF.
What
does that stand for? Chat, what are we giving it out of 10?
ACF.
ACF. What does that mean?
Arsenal
Club Football.
Club.
Arsenal Club de Football.
Good football.
Arsenal. Yeah. Actually, Taylor, the crown on Raheem is. Oh, I hope that was a mistake.
It's giving me Diary of a Wimpy Kid vibes.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, like the drawings and stuff. So.
I see that.
He's cooking. I'm giving that. I think that's what Forder meant.
I like the concept. Or maybe his middle name is. Maybe this is all about Alex Forder, and he's put his logo, and his middle name is C something.
Yeah,
Alex something Forder.
I'm giving it a solid 8.
What about that?
Oh, we're going that.
Alistair, can I say that is exactly Rohan's humour? Exactly Rohan's humour.
You wouldn't believe the stuff I
feel like this is where me and you diverge. Like humour. I remember.
Okay, right. Find
because I came into the recording with Rohan and George the other day, and they were just talking about what they'd done on the toilet. Do you know what I mean? Like they were absolutely loving it. And I was like, I feel like this is where I get off the boat.
Oh, are you more into the sophisticated humor?
Sorry, what?
I don't know what I was sophisticated humor.
Someone the other day said that I saw someone comment that I exhibit controlling behavior to you. You don't feel controlled, do you, Rohan? But I was like, sorry, when Rohan says sophisticated, am I not meant to take the piss? I
only stumbled once.
Am I not meant to take the piss?
I was thinking of a different word, and then I thought I'll just go with the basic.
No mistakes here. Not allowed.
But I find like that sort of stuff hilarious. Like that is why I love like films like Rush Hour, for example. Some of the stuff in there is just that's my sort of
puerile. So now there's a space for a bit of puerile humor sometimes.
Exactly.
Where's the hidden Rohan?
It's if you go down. Oh, you have to zoom out now. I've lost where I am.
Where?
There it is, just on the love heart. Near Mars.
Ah, very good. Yeah, very, very good. There you are.
Hiya. Would you like to learn about hybrid pressing? Hiya. I can't believe you don't know that I can't believe you don't know we're not playing a man-to-man press. It's actually a zonal press. So
you know that really triggers me online.
Right. I've still got that on the screen. Yes, Saka, I was very happy. Let me. I want to ask you a question, which I think is very important. Do you think that having Bukayo Saka back in the team is a good thing?
Yes, Alex.
Interesting.
What are you cooking here? What are you cooking?
No, I just wanted to ask. Where can we go with this? It's good. I am slightly worried about overloading him too early.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you know what I mean?
I feel like he does need to get some significant level of minutes before the Real Madrid game for us to actually see him be the best version of himself possible. I mean, we've got Fulham and Everton beforehand. So
ideally he would have, this is all based on, if he was totally ready now, here's what I'd do. I'd give him a couple of minutes against Fulham, like 5-10 minutes at the end, just to get him back. I'd start him. No, I wouldn't. I'd get him in this back in the second half against Everton once the game's calmed down a little bit. I'd give him 60 minutes in the first leg against Madrid, and hopefully, if he's ready, give him 90 in the second leg.
I'd give him like 10 minutes against Fulham, and then 30 minutes against Everton, and then I think that will put him in good stead from the start against Madrid.
Or you just what's that in between game for the Madrid one? If I don't know if who's
between the first and second leg.
Brentford game, you just don't play him. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You just play 90 minutes against Madrid. Don't play him 90 minutes against Madrid.
Two people who have no information whatsoever in terms of his current status. No. With just vibes in. But mate, do you remember that? Do you know what's so beautiful? That first 10 minutes against Bayern Munich last season. I was there for it, right? Saka goal. And then do you remember the Ben White miss? It was like, he should have scored. And then after that, it just went crumbling, went downhill. But that first 10 minutes, we were cooking so hard.
Mate, we were not a million miles. People will say, knocked out by Bayern. We were not a million miles away from them.
If Ben White scored that chance, and if we'd got that penalty, and that was a penalty on Saka, I stand by it.
Yeah.
Someone's going at that pace.
Yeah.
Sorry, you slow it down to the frames that we saw. It's not going to give you a real understanding of what's actually happened. But
it's a fine margin of football. Ivan Smith says Saka scoring the Emirates against the Madrid team without Mbappe, Vinicius, and Rudiger will hit like crack. It would be lovely. I mean, okay, if you had to, obviously Saka scoring, but what's the context of the goal? Like, a 94th minute winner in the second leg at the Bernabeu. Obviously, we want Saka to score, but what's the context? Like, how would you like the goal to be constructed? This is such a woke.
How would you like the goal to be constructed? I think I'd like it from a hybrid press.
Nah, do you know what would actually slap? Imagine it's a replica of the Liverpool goal from this season.
Oh, mate.
Ben White from deep. Ferland Mendy instead of Robertson.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Honestly.
Oh. Mate.
That's like one of my favourite Saka goals. Actually, what's your favourite Saka goal?
Favourite Saka goal?
It doesn't have to be his most emphatic finish.
There's a goal he scores against Watford when we're playing in red shorts, where the keeper just doesn't move.
Yeah.
And I love goals where the keeper just doesn't even move.
Yeah.
Is it Ben Foster in goal?
The cycling GK, yes, sir.
Yeah.
I don't know, actually. I don't know if it was, but the game
was United 22-23.
Yeah, do you remember that one?
Yes.
I'll tell you what.
Wait, who's this? Bukayo what? Aston Villa 22-23.
Yeah, do you remember that one?
Which one was that?
It's the half volley.
Off his right?
Yeah.
I do remember that.
So it's the cross, Ben White cross. I don't know who heads it out. Might have been Tyrone Mings. He just half volley.
Forest last season.
Yeah, the Iron.
The opening. Yeah, that was nice. There's one he scored. Was it against Forest?
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
There's another one.
Foot. It was in the second half last season.
Yeah, the transition one.
Yeah,
but there's another one where I can't remember if it was against Forest, but he cuts in and he's kind of shepherded away, but he just gets the shot away. I can't remember who it was against.
Yeah, Forest this season.
No, but there was another one. I'm meaning another one against Forest. He feels like he scored loads against Forest. I meant the one against Forest on the opening day of the 23-24 season. That one.
Yeah, that's the Iron Robben one.
Yeah. And I'm talking about another one. I'm saying. I think there's a
transition one that
not the transition one against Forest. I think there's a third goal against Forest. Let me.
Yeah, I think that's from this season. The one where Ødegaard lays it off to him and he's inside the box and then he just slaps it towards Sell's left hand side where Sell's shifting towards his right.
Yes. Yeah, he did score. Yeah. The one he scored against West Ham in that 6-0 was really nice.
Oh, in the second half where he
it's just like
and then yeah.
They're literally just like, okay.
His Frankfurt one as well was really good.
Well, his first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, his first goal.
His first Premier League goal as well. The one against
Bayern last season was lovely.
The one against Wolves as well.
Lovely.
First goal. No, do you know what was my favourite ones actually? One of my favourite Saka assists is the one against Leicester, where it's in that same season, the COVID season. It's the ball over the top, and I think it's Johnny Evans. Johnny Evans thinks he's going to come inside, but then Saka drops a shoulder, goes on the outside, and cuts it back for Aubameyang.
No idea. No, I'm sure it was lovely.
Bournemouth in the FA Cup 1920 was sick as well. That was on the left-hand side for you left-wing Saka merchants.
Oh, we couldn't possibly move him. What's your favourite goal you've seen live? Says Alfred. I think the Spurs game, we beat them 3-1 in the 22-23 season at home.
Oh, were you there for that?
I was there, and Xhaka scores a goal, and it was my end.
Yeah, your North Bank.
And there was something about that, and I was like Partey's goal was probably aesthetically better, but because it was Xhaka, it was just so nice.
I was there for the Arshavin goal against Barca.
Were you?
Yeah. I was there.
Were you actually in the Emirates?
Yeah.
That's mad.
But that's not my favorite goal. Actually,
is this why you're so sure of getting tickets for the Madrid game because you've just always been there?
No, it's not that. I think for me, actually, Aubameyang against Spurs in Unai Emery's first season, the 4-2. I loved that goal for some reason. Like the angle I had for it. Do you remember it? It was we absolutely battered them in the first half, and then Rob Holding gives a penalty away.
Who?
Rob Holding gives a penalty away.
Who does he even play for these days?
I think it's Sheffield United.
Is he getting a game?
Yeah, it's that Aubameyang goal. It's like it's outside the box. I think it's across from Bellerin, and I think it's cleared, and Aubameyang just like hits it first time.
I don't remember it.
The Torreira game, Lucas Torreira. Remember Lucas Torreira? Towards the end, it was that game.
No, I remember, but I don't remember that goal. You're joking. He's not even getting a game for Sheffield.
He was a perfect backup. That's what the guy at block 8, 7, whatever block it was, row 4 told me.
The problem is I really like Rob Holding as a person, but I'm sorry. People will be like, well, Mikel should have. The guy he had does not get a game for Sheffield United in the 23 to rival Haaland.
Mikel has some questions to answer for that, I'm telling you. And he was absolutely, oh my God, that game where this supposed narrative of Xhaka riling up the Liverpool fans has clouded the fact that Rob Holding was so bad, gave a penalty away in the stupidest way. It was like... Oh.
Who's the person you hate most in football? Yours is Rob Holding. George's is Carragher. He hates him so much. It's so funny.
I mean,
who do I hate the most in football? Who do you think I hate the most in football?
What, can it be pundit as well then?
Sterling's up there.
Yeah, you don't. Right?
No, that's recency bias.
No.
Who do I hate?
No, Rob Holding's
just...
not...
Okay, we'll start with hate, then we'll go to love. Who does everyone hate the most in football? Doesn't have to be anyone, just anyone in football. The one individual you hate the most.
Okay, I need to think now because there's quite a few.
And remember, it's football, not personal.
I hated Diego Costa. I hated him.
Oh,
genuinely. Yeah. I absolutely hated him. I remember he got Mertesacker sent off. He absolutely played Gabriel Paulista. Absolutely played him.
Yeah, I hate it. Yeah, he's up there. He's up there.
Do you know what really triggered me? It was like Chelsea beating Arsenal 2-0, and then the day after, Diego Costa, after riling up Arsenal, was in Peppa Pig World. It like really annoyed me so much. Diego Costa.
Someone said Bruno Fernandes in the chat. I buy that. I actually like him more these days. But there was a couple of seasons where I absolutely hated Bruno Fernandes. It's not personal.
Thoughts on Bruno Fernandes?
Only slightly. Oh, mate, Cucurella. Shall I tell you
Yeah, that's a good shout. That is a good shout.
Right now, my girlfriend, her first Arsenal, I took her to the Arsenal game for the first time, the Chelsea game. She hates Cucurella. She was like, firstly, get a hairband. Secondly, because it's really bad for your hair. And I was like, you're cooking. And, and secondly, why is he just trying to rile everyone up?
Yeah.
She was like, he's so annoying. Get him off.
Yeah, he's up there.
She, with all due respect to her, she knows basically nothing about football, and she could tell Cucurella was a wrong one.
Yeah, but I think there's outside of Chelsea fans, I think a lot of football fans will share the same opinion.
But also, what I found interesting though is Arteta had him, but he was talking to at one point on the touchline. I don't know if the cameras caught it, and he was kind of laughing with it. I think Arteta and everyone. It's that thing of when you're a shithouse. Everyone knows you're a bit of a shithouse. It's kind of the way you. It's kind of the way you win.
Yeah.
And I think footballers kind of respect it to some degree. Like there's a line. They accept that that's part of some people's game. But from a fan's perspective, Cucurella, also just the fact he slows the game down. He's so annoying.
Yeah, he's up there. Oh, now I like this question. I need to really think because I've got a lot of enemies in football. Oh, Troy Deeney. I could not stand Troy Deeney. Mate. Troy Deeney. Oh my God.
I was in the stadium when everyone called him a fat bastard. I didn't sing along.
There as well.
I don't believe in fat shaming.
Yeah. I didn't sing along, but I could not stand. Was that when he was like he took his top off and
it's the one where he missed the penalty.
Showing his abs, I think.
He missed a pen.
Oh yeah. Where Czech saved one of his only penalties at Arsenal. I think it was.
Wait, was it that? He missed, I think it was a 3. We beat them 3-1 or something.
Yeah,
it was after he'd said about the cojones thing.
Yeah.
And yeah. Malachi says, Alex, will Mikel make you get married too? Mate, Mikel's got another one. Martinelli's married now.
Yeah.
Everyone's married.
Do you know who he needs to get married ASAP?
Saka.
No. Calafiori. It's dangerous, man. Don't get him in at Soho.
I was going to do a section on Erdogan on midfield, but frankly, I can't be arsed. It's just not. It's not that.
But
it doesn't feel like that kind of TCP live. You know what I mean?
What footballer do you hate? Come on. Give me one. Yeah, Joe Barton's he's just a different breed. Yeah, though, right? He's not in that category. Like he's just.
I'll go. Yeah. The other stuff is football. This is purely personal. I hate Joe Barton. That's just as a person.
Yeah, like Joe Barton. Joe Barton just needs. Yeah, I'm not going to say what I was going to say. Actually.
Yeah, football. Diego Costa. I loved all the tweets about Joe Barton. But I was like, it's always the people you don't expect to be beating their wife.
Honestly, that guy.
Who do I hate? It was Bruno for a while. I think it has to be Cucurella.
I don't think he's the worst, though.
Do you know what it is? I think a lot of players, I sort of love them because they're good at football. Because I'm a bit of just a football fan in general. The level's so good that it's very hard to hate anyone because you either have, you have to be really quite bad.
I didn't like Kyle Walker. I've never liked Kyle Walker, to be honest. In terms of a player, I appreciate what he is as a player, but I've never liked him. Rodri, when he celebrated in the 21-22 season, the winner, that really riled me. Yeah, he's up there. I'm not too fussed about him though.
Richarlison. It kind of has to be a Spurs player, and I think it's Richarlison. Who's the person you love most in football, and it can't be an Arsenal player? Same goes to everyone in the chat.
My favourite player of all time? Like,
just someone you love who's currently playing the game.
Currently playing the game.
Yeah. Mine, Thomas Frank.
Okay, that was a bit different.
Just love him.
Absolutely. Can we go for a player? Actually,
you can go for a player as well, but love the guy.
Yeah,
absolutely love the
guy. Yamal.
Yeah.
And I loved what he posted after Van der Vaart was giving it a big one. Like, I love that in football. Do you know what it is, right? You know when like celebration police, you have to have a miserable mindset if that really annoys you when players like give it back. Like,
I love it.
You're just a miserable person. It's
like,
yeah,
game's the game. Ivan says, I can't stand Son. Violent, but has a good image. Yeah, he I think because of is it the Andre Gomez tackle? That kind of
the leg breaker.
Put people onto him a little bit. I think that's kind of slightly warped it, but I see that. Yeah, you're gonna have to watch me with Thomas Frank when or if Arteta, well, you will. So when Arteta leaves, if Frank is in the game,
He's
You'll
very
have to watch me
underrated.
because I'll be going Thomas Frank, and we'll have to check whether it's actually fair. Anthony Gordon, says Rin.
Really? Is it because of the
To like.
comments? Is it because of the? Oh, what to like? I mean, I like Gordon.
His overlap episode with Gary Neville is so funny. He says he reads books, and Gary Neville's like, "Really? So you like read and stuff? That's honestly, that's amazing." And he goes back to it like 10 times. He's like, "So you all read? You actually like read books? That's crazy."
Do you like reading books, Alex?
Well, I'm a book reader.
Oh, you're a book reader.
Yeah, it's mainly like non-fiction. I've never really found fiction stuff that I really like, but I've got loads of non-fiction stuff that I love reading.
Nice. Yeah, I'm a reader.
What do you read?
Well, right now I'm reading.
Name one book.
No, right now I started reading Gary Stevenson's Trading Game.
Oh, nice. I've seen it. I've seen him advertised a lot.
Yeah. I was reading that. 2 pages in.
2 pages in. What else?
Yeah.
Start talking about pressing. Right, we're going to rank. This might take us a while, so it means to get started. We're going to rank every single Arsenal player's season in 24-25. And by the way, this tier list I found has I'm talking like it has Nathan Butler or Odeji. It has everyone. It has Nketiah's game for us in pre-season. So we're going to rank everyone's season in 24-25.
Should we have a rule? Like you can't have too many people.
Well, I think we can do my initial proposal, if you'll pardon me, is that we have 9 out of 10. We rank them in order, so they will be in order in the tiers as we've done before. So the person who's closest to the number will be the first in that category and whatever. So we will pick a player of the season. And the colours do feel the wrong way around, Taylor. You're right. And
yeah, they are.
Yeah, I don't like that. I might have to do the other way around. So we'll go. So the first category is 9 out of 10 and above. So we'll like maybe give them a sort of a number. Then it's 7.5 out of 10 and above, 6 out of 10 and above, 4 out of 10 and above, and a 4 or lower. We could cap how many people are in each category, but I think I think that's enough of a guardrail.
Yeah, we'll go with the flow first. Yeah, just go with the flow.
Let's go with the flow. We can't spend ages on every single one, so we might have to skip through.
At least 10 minutes on Butler.
At least, well, probably 15 minutes on Butler Odeji. We'll start with David Raya. I would give David Raya. I don't see why he's not a 9 out of 10 or above.
Agree. Yep.
I don't see why this season in 24-25, based on he's made 1 error in the Chelsea game. I'm sure you can probably tell me another one.
Yeah, Chelsea game. Oh, there was another one. Lost it. Well, he has made some mistakes. Like, I remember the Southampton game. I don't know if you can recall it. There was a corner and he came out to punch it and they hit the bar.
Charming.
Wait, there's like a big one that he's made recently.
Oh, the United one. To be fair.
Yeah, the United one. Yeah, the United one. But I think with David Wright, it's very interesting because I think he's someone who's actually thrived in every single environment. If it's high shot volume, he's thrived in that early on in the season. When it's a situation in which Arsenal predominantly are in this scenario where they aren't facing a lot of shots on goal and you need your concentration levels to be of the highest degree, and he showed that numerous times in terms of being clutch, and his all-round game is just fantastic, and I think he's taken it up a level this season. So yeah, definitely.
I think 9 out of 10 or above. William Saliba. I'm going to put him in 7.5 out of 10. I'd probably give him like an 8.5 or maybe, I don't know if he's a 9, but he's certainly in that upper tier. I do think some of we almost have this thing in football where we have to pick a winner. And it's like, and we do in the sport. I get that. Someone has to win. But in terms of individual performances, 2 players can be having a really good season at the same time in a sense about partnership, and that's fine. And I think I would say Gabriel's been better, but I think sometimes what we do is we go, Gabriel's been brilliant this season, and yeah, Saliba's it's really changed. Saliba's the one slacking. Saliba's not been slacking.
No.
Saliba's been brilliant this season, as has Gabriel, but Gabriel's been maybe a touch better, but that doesn't make Saliba way worse by comparison, is my feeling.
Yeah, for me, I would put him in the top bracket personally, but I think he'd be on the end of that. I think he's been fantastic this season. I think obviously he has had some moments in which he's made mistakes and they've been more eye-catching. But I think this season, in terms of on the ball, and I mentioned it, he's been the guy who has played that first pass inside the block and has initiated moves from deeper areas. It's been Saliba who has taken that responsibility. And I think actually this season on the ball, it's been his best campaign. I still maintain that, when we did the main pod and we went through like our seasons, and obviously it's Gabriel and Saliba at the back. I actually think Saliba's 22-23 season was my favourite because of the number of eye-catching man of the match displays, and also that kind of like surprise factor where we all knew Saliba was good, but how he was able to be that good, it kind of like shook. I think it shook everyone, even the people who watched him, religiously. But I still think that this season he's been really good, and Arsenal statistically, defensively, they're the best team in the league by a decent distance. And those two are the catalyst to that, in my opinion. So, but you can keep him there at the top for now. But I would have him at the.
Yeah, he could go a bit higher, maybe. Yeah. I think for me.
Let's see. Let's go through more.
Yeah, I think for me, sometimes with Saliba, there's an element of coasting, and I think it is because he's so good. Sometimes it goes against him, but I think there's an element of coasting through games when I would like a little bit more impetus on the ball. I'd like a little bit more urgency in his play. I'd like a little bit more rhythm in his game, and to feel like he's really leading this team forward. Because I think you can almost feel that with a Van Dijk, you can feel how he's leading the team from centre back. And that's something that Saliba hasn't quite got to, which is why I can't put him in 9.5, 10. He's had a couple of ropey games. But we're splitting hairs. Kai Havertz, I think in terms of the injuries or guys with injuries, I think it just caps where they can get to. I'm not saying, whatever, but, he can't be a 9 out of 10 because he hasn't played for a lot of the team. I'm happy to put him up here. I thought his start to the season was probably the lower end of that, but I thought the start to the season was okay. He was on for, I think his numbers wise, he was pretty good.
He was really good numbers wise. I do think I would probably lean towards the bracket below at the top, because I think he had a significant drop off in the last 2 months, personally, in all aspects. But I don't think that's necessarily down to him as well. He's had to become very versatile in the absence of other players. Havertz has not really had that continuity in a specific role either. And this is the thing. So it's like he's obviously injured now. He had a poor 2 months prior to his injury. Not all his fault. So I don't think I could justify putting him that high personally. I'd put him at the top of the bracket below.
I think because of what he does for the team out of possession.
That's a fair point.
How hard he works. I just find it hard to give him. I find it hard to ever give Havertz anything lower than a 7.5 because of what he does. But equally, his big question is always, can you go further?
Yeah. But I think then when you consider the finances as well, and I'm a massive Havertz fan. No,
true.
I'm a massive Havertz fan. I don't feel comfortable putting him that high, especially with some of the other players that will have to come.
I hear that. We might push him down. Push him down. Thomas Partey.
Now, I think both of us, Thomas Partey fans, hate us. But I think he's had a solid season. And I'd probably I'd put him there. I would. Yeah.
I'll put him in here. He's at the lower end of that for me.
Yeah.
Thomas Partey, if we cut off the season at about January, December time, he was one of my players of the season. He had an unbelievable start to his campaign. Yes. But I just can't look past individual errors at Aston Villa, at Atalanta, Chelsea. There was another one where Liverpool. I can't look past those individual errors in big games, in big moments that led to goals.
His box defending is very, very average. I've maintained. You can go back to 22-23, Senesi, header, go back to last season, Romero, twice. Go back to this season, right? In the 1-0 win, Thomas Partey was self-sabotaging at times when we were defending deeper, where his clearances were literally landing on the feet of Spurs players in promising areas, and Gabriel's making big blocks. But I do think his availability and his consistency overall has been really good. And like the big games, Thomas Partey, outside the Spurs match, Chelsea as well.
Socks Guy says, guys, I'm driving. Do you mind saying what category you're putting them in? Yes, we will, but also don't text and drive.
Yes.
Don't text and drive. Please look after yourself. Partey's in 7.5 out of 10 plus at the bottom end.
I'd put on the bottom. Yeah, at the bottom.
I think the bottom end is fair for me. So just as a recap for anyone who is just listening, we've got Raya in 9 out of 10 plus. We've got Saliba, Havertz, and Partey in 7.5 out of 10 or higher. Let's move to Saka. This guy was on for an all-timer season. He might even still be a 9 out of 10.
I think he is. I think he has to be because every single game, barring the Fulham game, and that was, he was like Martinelli was millimeters onside for him to score that winner, right? Saka is producing at least 1 or 2 big moments in every single game that he played in. Every single game, like. What he was producing was unprecedented, and he was going toe-to-toe with Salah in terms of chance creation. Toe-to-toe with Salah.
Yeah.
Like, I think he has to be there. Like, in
terms of his productivity, I was looking at it earlier. So if we just go through it, just in the Premier League, because also he was performing in the Champions League, and he got a goal and assist against Sport. This is the sort of thing, isn't it? When you start to look at properly elite attackers, you say you're giving us something every single game.
Yep.
In the Champions League,
Monaco, 2 goals.
2 goals against Monaco and an assist. So
scored against PSG.
He scored against PSG. He scored against Sporting and got an assist against Sporting as well. But here we are in the Premier League. Game week 1, Wolves, GA. Game week 2, assist. Game week 3, assist. Game week 4, assist. Game week 5, assist. Game week 6, blank. Game week 7, 3 GA. Game week 8, he was out. Game week 9 against Liverpool, 1 goal. 2 blanks, then GA, then 3 GA against West Ham week after. Then we had the United game at home. I believe he was beginning to break down over these. I'm not just making excuses for him. I genuinely think, and it could be a bit of because I knew what was coming. I think if we go back and watch that Everton game, that Fulham game, even the beginning of that Palace game before he breaks down, I don't think he's right.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking, I think when I watched, do you know what's interesting? When I watched the Everton game back, because I was at a wedding that day, and I painstakingly watched that game back, which was horrible. I was kind of going like, what feels wrong? And I remember watching Saka going, not consciously, as in I wasn't going, he's definitely injured. But I remember thinking there's something not quite right about Saka. I wouldn't be surprised. But in terms of the production, if he'd kept that up, basically a goal or something every single game, that's an all-timer season.
And he was performing in unfavourable circumstances as well. Half fit Ben White, Thomas Partey right back. Martinelli got injured. That meant Havertz had to play in that role as well. He was doing this in circumstances that weren't there to platform him. But this is what the best do. They're always able to still stay in the game and produce. Yeah. Did you see what Salah, the advice Salah got from Wenger? I don't know if you saw that interview. He said, the very best are, you might only get 1 or 2 touches in the game, but make it count, stay alert, be in the game. That is exactly what Saka has been doing every game this season. Even those games where he's blanked, trust me, Declan Rice, he put it on a plate for Rice in that Newcastle game where we were awful. This is what he's been doing all season.
But Klopp's a bigger Premier League legend, mate. So don't worry about that. Gabriel player of the season.
Yeah, he's up there.
For me?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Someone's having a fit about Saliba in the chat. Guys, we're living in another universe if you don't think Saliba is 9 out of 10. He's a top 3 centre-back in the world. If I went out on the pitch and I scored 2 goals, that is more impressive than Saka going out on the pitch and scoring 2 goals, is it not? My point is Saliba, the level that he has hit at Arsenal, I think he's been higher than he has this season. He's still at 8.5, close to 9, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I said I'd have him at the bottom end of the top tier, but it's not a disrespect putting him there. And also, he's 7.5 out of 10 plus.
And he's top of that list.
So, yeah.
Gabriel, player of the season. We can't talk about every single player, so maybe we need to move on. But he has been extraordinary. I saw a stat the other day from I think it was from Now Arsenal. That was around mistakes or like positional mistakes in the Premier League. So yeah, here we go. Fewest positional mistakes per 90 among centre backs in the Premier League for 24-25. Gabriel is top with 0.38 per 90. Second is Ruben Diaz with 0.45. And Saliba's third. Jurriën Timber. Oh.
I'd put him above... No, I think I would put him above Saka because of the availability. And
he's been top this season.
Would I put him above Raya? I would. I'd put him above Raya. Personally. I think he's been incredible. Like, so good.
I think he's stopped us from an accident waiting to happen with no Ben White.
It's like what Ben White was doing last season.
Yeah.
The first half of the campaign. So.
Yeah. Got a lot of players up there. Declan Rice.
I'd put him in the top tier as well. I think he's been crazy good. Like since Chelsea away, Declan Rice's level has been insane. Genuinely. And this is despite the fact that I still don't believe we're using him in the best possible way.
More chances created than Salah in 2025.
Yeah, he's been fantastic. He's genuinely.
I think the Euros took a lot out of him. I remember thinking about it in the summer, and they had like 4 weeks or something between the Euros ending and being back in pre-season, or less than 4 weeks, I think it was, than the Euros ending. And no, was it even?
No, it was less because
England
2
weeks.
Yeah, because England got to the final, didn't they? So
it was 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like that is crazy.
And he mentioned it as well. I think he was saying my body's still recovering, and
I think no Club World Cup this summer is huge for us. It may well be that we need to do it because I've seen some numbers around how much we get out of it. But we may need to look at the squad, we may need to look at the Club World Cup and stuff. But this summer, not having a tournament, I think could be massive. Gabriel Martinelli.
6/7. It's 6 out of 10 category. Yeah. I think he's had some very good games this season, but I don't think there's enough sample. So, and I think there's still an overarching issue with our left-hand side.
I still think there's a lot when I watch him that I say is on him, and I always want to represent the other side of the argument. I hear both. There's things he does where he doesn't help himself. Like he really doesn't. He goes down blind alleys, but when he's put in the right positions, we can see the threat. Mm-hmm. But he's also sometimes put in strong positions and doesn't finish. And then you go, well, then I can't keep making excuses for you. So it's really difficult with Martinelli because you're constantly torn between, well, if all the stuff that we discussed before, if he was put in those positions in the right way and consistently and given game time and given trust, etc., that then he would thrive. But this is what I talk about on the main pod. We can say this about every single player. The best players that we were talking about Vieira. If you gave me favorable conditions, I could go and stand in the 6-yard box, not have to run and get 15 balls a game. I'd probably score you a couple of goals. The question is it worth doing that? Is it worth investing in that talent? And that's my big question for Martinelli. Is it worth giving you that time and space? Have you shown me enough? Even you said it yourself. Saka can. What's your piece of string analogy, right?
Yeah. You can.
He can make anything with a piece of string. Ødegaard needs others to help him pull the string, and he needs someone else to hold the other end, or someone to show him how to do something. Saka can do it wherever, and Martinelli can't. Now, is that fair to compare him to Martinelli? Maybe not. But then the question is it fair to treat him like Saka? Not in my view. Not in my view.
Yeah, I think there's the balance here of, like, not every player is going to be able to be that type in which you give them a piece of string and they're able to produce your Sakas, your Miles, your Musialas, your Kevin De Bruyne's, your Trents, etc.
Yeah.
Right? But because every player is not like that, and it's a very small percentile when you go through the entirety of football, it's then how much a case of, is that player worth platforming more? And I do still feel like, as much as I believe with the way that Mikel uses Martinelli, I don't see how this can progress any further forward in terms of the long term. Yeah. But I still think that there is something that left-hand side in which it's not just Martinelli who has struggled to deliver consistency. It's everybody who has played there. So I think this is a really good conversation to still be had on Martinelli. But I think 6 out of 10 is fair. The
one thing I will say is I can't see another season go by without a purchase or a big change or some big dynamic shift.
Well, the thing is,
it becomes more and more on Mikel every day, which is why I take the heat off Gabby, because I used to be a lot more like, you need to deliver.
Yeah.
But I'm pulling more out to, well, at some point, if the same thing is happening over and over again, I lose my faith in the player, and then I say I'm looking at the coach.
Well, I mean, we're getting substantial nuggets of information here. With last season, Trossard started a lot of games ahead of Martinelli. If we just look at it in simplistic terms, he is not someone he's not one of Mikel's favourites, is he? And with the links that we've had to left wingers, it looks like he isn't going to be someone who's going to be here for the near future. Personally, I think if there is a big sale, he could be one of them.
Trossard,
I put him at the bottom of 7.5 because I think he is one of the players who has stepped up in the absence of Saka in terms of productivity. And when we're talking about the left-hand side being an issue, which it is, I don't know if you saw that very dweebish graphic of the predominant passes each team play in the Premier League. Arsenal's are all funneled towards the right-hand side. It kind of shows you that there's a lack of consistency happening through the left. And with that taking into consideration what Trossard has been producing in terms of the output, I think he's done really well in that sort of circumstance. So,
again, I'm going off like what I believe. For me, this is like who's been Arsenal's best player. Even for Saka, he was having an unbelievable season.
Mm-hmm.
For Trossard, I think Trossard is giving us about as much as he can give us. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I don't then go, well, then you're down here, because I think he's like, I think he's nine goals and assists in 29 appearances in the Premier League. He's done what I believe he can do in an Arsenal shirt and worked really hard, and given us, he's not Bukayo Saka. So let's not expect him to be so.
I also think we should sell him this summer.
Yeah, I agree. I said that last summer and got laughed at. Ødegaard. Martin Ødegaard. This one might be interesting. I'm going to go with 6 out of 10. I don't know exactly where and above. And I don't know exactly where, but let me explain why. I don't think this has been a good season for Ødegaard. I think the disappearance of Saka has been massive and has taught us a lot about what Ødegaard is good at and what Ødegaard is not good at. And also Kai Havertz as well. I think, as he said himself, he hasn't been good enough. He's still been one of our best progressors in the team. If you look at the underlying progressive numbers, I saw some stuff going around the other day. He's still got some really good numbers. I also think if we're going to spend all this time talking about how unsuitable Martinelli's position is, well, there's some things he's been asked to do that I don't think he's suitable for. Mm-hmm. So I think we have to apply that as well. I don't know how this develops. I don't really see how you can go much higher than a 6 out of 10. But
5 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, you put him down?
Yeah, he's been average, isn't he? Average. Like, disappointing by his standards. I mean, yeah, there might be a lot more in this in terms of outside of structures and tactics. There could be the fact that he's just struggling physically this season. There could be that. But he's not been good. Like, he's been average. Yeah. So
we'll come back to that. I think he's the bottom of my 6 out of 10 category, but I think putting him at 4 out of 10.
No, I don't think I'd give him
harsh.
4. Yeah.
No, but isn't in that category. I think it's considering who's going to be in this category when we'll do the thing at the end where we challenge. We might have to run through some of these now just because of time. Ben White, let's put him. I don't think it's fair to say more than 6 out of 10, not because he's not been good, but because we've barely seen him.
Yeah, I mean, again, below Odegaard, I'd probably. It's not a case. It's not his fault, but I think this season yeah, I'd put like just on a 5, just like just.
I think we could leave him there. Jesus.
I mean, he was showing some promising form just before his injury, which is so I'd put him in that category as well. In the Ben White Odegaard, I'll probably put him, but he has been injured, so I would put him below it. Yeah, Odegaard's played more games than him, so yeah.
Calafiori, for me, bottom of 7.5. I think people will point to moments, and that's absolutely fair. But I think there's been some big goals for us, and obviously the Man City game, the Wolves game.
Yep.
I think it provides us something different on that side. I think we can look at the moment with Savinho or a couple of moments against Nottingham Forest or whatever. But overall, his play has been really good. He's been really secure in possession for me. He's given us a different dynamic in the final third. I think he's given us a little bit of threat. He's given us some presence in the back line. Aerially, I think he's good. He's not perfect, which is why I'm not putting him further up. But I think I don't like this thing of sort of we sign a player, we see they have a flaw, and then we go, that can't that rules out everything else. I don't like that.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'd agree.
I'm sure we're doing a load of how can that player be better than that player. We'll come to that a little bit later. Yeah. Mikel Merino. I don't think you could. I don't see how he's not in 6 out of 10 or above.
Yeah, because I think. I mean, I have been a bit disappointed with a lot of the things I've seen in Mikel Merino, but the goals have been important. The numbers, the threat in the box. So yeah, I'll put him above Ben White for sure. And I put him above Jesus as well. Yeah, I'd put him.
Yeah, I'd take him, yeah, we'll do that in a second. Kivior.
Oh God,
he's not played. I don't see how he can't be in 4 out of 10 or above. Because what are we going off? We're going off basically coming into that Liverpool game and
he's had some
shit
bad
in the bed with
games,
Salah, which is unfair. But
he's had some bad games. I mean, Crystal Palace in the cup.
Yeah,
remember the goal?
Just hoofs it.
Bournemouth penalty. Sold Raya short.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was the other one, but that wasn't on Raya in terms of that was one Kivior. Yeah,
we'll come back to that maybe, but yeah. Jorginho.
I'd put him in the top. It's between the bottom of 7.5 and the top of 6.
I think top of 6 because if we're being fair in terms of how many times he's played.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how many minutes he's got, but I can't.
If
I'm saying fair. I haven't seen enough of Kivior. I've not seen. It's not like I've seen. He's played 21% of the available minutes in the league. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
he's played a bit more in the Champions League. To be fair,
I think overall he's had a good season. I think there have been some. I mean, he didn't play well against PSV, but I think Jorginho's done okay. So I'd go with 6/7. So he's in the right spot.
Raz.
Yeah, it's just fun there.
Is there a debate?
Yeah, it's fine.
4 or lower. Our first one in there. Ethan.
I think with where he is as a 17-year-old and the impact he's had, he has to be in that top tier. He has to.
Yeah, I think so, and I think Miles goes in there as well. I don't know what order. We'll come to that order in just a second, but I think they both, in terms of again what we expect of them, what we see of them. Is this their best season? Do you know what I mean? Like if how much have we expect? How much have we relied on them? I think we have to put them in there.
Yeah.
Zinchenko.
Do you
know what?
He's
I think he's been all right this season, Zinchenko. When he's barely played, but I think he's been all right.
That's a big caveat, isn't it? He's barely played, so he can't be any higher than the 6 out of 10 category. Like
he's played 11%. How many minutes do you think he's played for Arsenal this season?
Not many. He started against Wolves.
560 minutes. And he's only been injured for 7 games.
A very respectable 5.5 with the minutes, when you consider the minutes as well.
I think if I'm being fair with Kivior,
he's been better than Kivior though.
No, he's been better than Kivior, but how many minutes has Kivior played?
Yeah, but Kivior's I know, but we also have to consider the mistakes that Kivior has been making this season. He's made mistakes against PSV, he's made mistakes against Bournemouth, he's made mistakes against Liverpool, he's made mistakes against Crystal Palace.
Kivior's played double the minutes of Zinchenko. That's crazy.
Yeah, but I can't have Zinchenko below Kivior.
Yeah, okay. Bottom of there. No, I'm going top of there. He would be if he'd play more minutes. He's played like 4 games all in. I'm not going to rank Hines.
Oh yeah, just leave them there.
Hayden, Porter, Tierney. Do we want to rank him?
Yeah, I mean, put him at the bottom of. Yeah, I mean, just put him in. He has produced the bit of quality every single time he's stepped on that pitch, mate.
I think he's in that category.
Yeah, get him in there.
He's barely played, so you can't put him higher, but...
maybe a 5? Yeah, fine.
Butler or Adeji? 9 out of 10? Okay, let's go through the categories. So we have, for those of you listening, we have in 9 out of 10 or above, we have Gabriel, Timber, Raya, Saka, Rice, Waneri, and Miles. So let's order that, and then we'll come to, in the last sort of 15 minutes, we'll come to challenges, which we'll take from the audience. I think Gabriel is my player of the season, so I'm not moving that. I actually don't hate that order.
Yeah, I mean...
I'd make maybe it's fair to stick Miles ahead of Ethan.
Yes. Yeah.
The Saka thing... He's missed 3 months.
Yeah, I'd put Saka at the bottom because of
It's nothing to do with him, but these other guys have been available. He's not played for 3 months.
I like that order.
Yeah, I like that. I'm happy with that. Let's lock that in. We'll come to some challenges. In the 7.5 out of 10 plus category, we have Saliba at the top, Havertz, Partey, Trossard, and Calafiori. Nothing glaring there. Maybe I'd push Havertz down.
Yeah, push Havertz down.
He might even go at the end of that for me. No,
I wouldn't. I would put him. I'd put him above Trossard. I think that's fair.
Yeah, I'm okay with that for now. In the 6 out of 10 or more category, we've got Jorginho, Martinelli, Ødegaard, Marino, Jesus, and Ben White.
I put Martinelli above Jorginho.
Honestly, I think this is a bit of recency bias with Ødegaard. Okay, let me put it this way. Who net has provided more value for the team this season, Ødegaard or Jorginho? I think it's Ødegaard.
Yeah.
I think so.
But then do we have to consider the expectations as well?
Yeah, we do. No, we do.
You know what I mean? So...
I'd be okay to leave that.
Are we being a bit fair with some of these players, actually? With this...
What, you want to push them down?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how we can have Ben White in 6 out of 10. How?
Maybe we need to put him in top of 4 out of 10 or above.
And I don't know how we can put Jesus in 6 out of 10 either.
Yeah, maybe we need to drop him down.
But I'm happy with Marino being there. I think Marino's a fair candidate to be in that. Jorginho,
yeah, I think for me, Marino pushes
Marino
up
ahead of Jorginho.
Because of his centre forward.
I'd put Ødegaard down a bit because of the expectations.
He was our player of the season last year. Is the only
you know
reason.
What I mean? Like the high and where he is now.
I'd be okay with that though, I think personally.
And then 4 out of 10, I think it's fair.
So yeah, 6 out of 10, we now have Martinelli top, Ødegaard second, Marino third, and Jorginho fourth. 4 out of 10, we've got Ben White at the top, Jesus second, Zinchenko third, Tierney fourth, and Kivior fifth. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And then Raheem Sterling is on his own, as he always is. Okay, let's come to challenges. So essentially, chat, what we need, I'm just going to put it in the chat.
For 10 minutes.
For 10 minutes, as many challenges as you can. And that's how you want to do it. So I want challenge written in all caps so I know you're following the rules. Okay. And just tell us move so-and-so to so-and-so and give us the reason.
I think we're being fair with Erdegaard. I think we're being too lenient.
Mate, I do think with Erdegaard, I know what you mean, but
are we being too lenient with Calafiori as well?
Like, Ayo, give us a reason for Partey. Give us a reason. With Erdegaard, I just think we're all on his case at the minute. I don't think he's been as bad as we think about the team when he was out of the team. When he came back, there was a little bit of a bump. Yeah, but you don't agree, do you?
I'm torn. I don't know. I mean, he's not been great, so I think we're being pedantic anyway. So
Nathan Sarpong says, been a great breakout for Nwaneri, but Saka contribution to the team, even with injuries, is second only to Gabriel.
I do see that, because where would we be without Saka's contributions? Certainly not second.
How crazy is it that this is a debate? The fact that he's been out for 3 months and we're like, is he like our third best player of the season?
Exactly. Yeah.
I'll put him above.
Actually, I think he should be
Nwaneri. I'll put him above Nwaneri. I buy that.
Okay.
Challenge. Erdegaard swap with Calafiori. We went on an unbeaten run when he returned. This is kind of my point. I actually don't agree. I don't agree with this, but I do think people are. No, and I don't think it is. That's why I don't agree with that, and I wouldn't do this. But my point is that we did see an uptick in our game when he returned, and all the off ball stuff has still remained. We are looking at some difficult conversations about on the ball in possession and some poor games that Odegaard has played. 100%, he's not had a good season. I'm not in any way suggesting he should go higher, but I think this dropping him to 4 out of 10 or more.
I wouldn't swap
as
him.
Chrome is saying, he's got big expectations. He's the captain, so
this is what I do lean more towards this logic personally. What do you think he's? I think Erdegaard's been a 5 out of 10 this season. All things and you think 6?
I think a 6, yeah.
So it's we're being pedantic, really, aren't we? It's not.
Maybe I think I haven't noticed a lack in application.
Yeah.
His numbers in terms of his play hasn't dropped off a cliff. In terms of his output, it's dropped off a cliff. He's got 6 GA in the Premier League, and that's not good enough. But I'm not saying it's not nothing.
Has Calafiori played enough to be at 7.5? Don't think he has. As much as I love the player.
Yeah, he might need to drop down.
Yeah, he's not played enough.
But he's ahead of Martinelli and Erdegaard for me, though.
Yeah, he's very close to Martinelli. That makes me feel a bit better. I don't think Calafiori is warranted to be in that. Yeah,
I think Calafiori has been very unlucky with the Miles thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's not in. Yeah, but
with some injuries, I think he's actually physically provided us a lot. He's a sort of player who, when you watch him live, you're like, oh, okay. It's like Ben White. You know what I mean,
he's massive as well, Calafiori.
Mate,
he's huge. Genuinely.
Challenge. Move all head racket with a Jim Carrey profile picture. Says move all down from 9 out of 10, excluding Raya and Gabriel. 9 out of 10 is exceptional. We have too many in there.
But I think Rice has been phenomenal in every big game.
Gabriel is our player of the season. Timber 100% is 9 out of 10 or above. 100%. Raya 9 out of 10 or above. Declan Rice. you could maybe say, was he like a 7 or 8 up till about November? But since then, he's been at a 10. So for me, it works out. Miles, I think, considering the expectation at the beginning of the season, and Ethan as well, has massively exceeded all expectations. It's been their breakout year. If Miles did the same thing next year, considering the red cards and considering, there's some things to work on in his game, you might be looking at 7.5 or whatever. But because of the expectations,
you have to. They're teenagers.
And Saka, where would we be without Saka? So I don't agree with that personally. Move Trossard to 6 out of 10 or above. He's been poor most of the season. Hasn't finished chances, which is his main attribute. Poor decision making in the box too. I do actually agree that Trossard hasn't been as efficient as he was last year.
No, but I mean, if we look at the period in which Saka has been out, I agree. Trossard had a poor start to the season, and there are a lot of really frustrating moments on the back of that Aston Villa game when he came on. But he's produced a lot of quality from that moment Saka went down. And also you have to consider the left-hand side dynamics that is not consistently allowing players to flourish since the 22-23 season.
Yeah. And again, for me, it's a lot of it's about expectations and what I expect of a player.
Yeah.
And I think he's been at his level the whole time. He's been really consistent for me. How happy are we, chat? Out of 10. How happy are we with that list? I know we're never going to find all agreement.
Exactly.
But give us a number out of 10 of how happy you are with that.
I think that's a good list.
I think we at least have reasons for each one.
Yeah.
G Thor says 8 out of 10. Lucas says 8 out of 10. Don't worry about it. Says 7. Abu says 7. 7, 8. 6.5 says Nikki. Not gonna lie, I've disagreed. Most I've disagreed. 6
but then 6 out of 10, I'll take that if you've disagreed with most of them.
8, 9, 5 says name.
I think some of them we're effectively looking at the difference between a 5 out of 10 and a 6 out of 10, and like a 6 or a 7. It's very close. I don't think we've had any in which we've put a 9 out of 10 player who is a 7 out of 10.
Like here, so Jim says 5 out of 10 just for putting Odegaard that high up.
He doesn't like Odegaard.
I've seen you in the chat, Jim. You don't like him.
Yeah.
I get that. I do get it, and I am as frustrated with Odegaard as many other people. But I just think if we go back like the last couple of months, I think in some ways, if I could summarize, the last couple of months have almost been defined by Odegaard, because our issues have been in creating chances. Everything feels like it's gone through him. I think the issues before have maybe been we've looked at red cards, we've had conversations about PGMOL, or it's the injuries or whatever it might be. Once all that is out of the mind, we look further. I talked about this before. Odegaard is one of the only things we can control. And so I think he is a problem. I'm not saying he isn't, but we slightly overrate how big the problem is. I gave this analogy earlier. I did a pod with James from the Good Universe. Is it annoying if one of your flatmates isn't doing their washing up, isn't paying their rent on time, is leaving their, is wearing their shoes in the house? Yeah, it is annoying. Is it more annoying that your other housemate is trying to burn the house down? Yes. And I think the burn the house down in this analogy is Saka getting injured, Salah having that season he's having, the red cards, like that. Those are the things that I'm looking at. Odegaard hasn't been great, but I think because of that frustration, because we can't control that, a lot of that, we don't feel we can control it. We're pushing a lot more onto him, and there's big problems with him. And maybe you could argue, well, considering it's the only thing we can control, we didn't get anything done in the market, we should put all that frustration on Odegaard. Maybe that's fair, but I just don't agree. I think it's like
he's still a fantastic player. He's still a fantastic player in my eyes. I think it's been a bit of a reality check for people in terms of how they viewed Odegaard since he came to the club, in which that right-hand side has had a lot of continuity. A lot of players have been able to rack up minutes consistently. And since this season, we have seen players go down it has meant that it is relied upon individual quality, and Martin Odegaard isn't someone who is capable of doing that in isolation. That's not the type of player he is, and that is okay. It's fine.
Yeah.
And it gives you an understanding of the limitations of a player when they don't have specific others around them to really help them. So,
and that does mean what George has spoken about before, which is that you then don't build around that player. That's a player that isn't your staple. That isn't your Saka or Saliba or Rice. You know what I mean? Like, and I think maybe Odegaard has gone from that pillar to me to being a very, very important player. But is he like Ben White? Like Ben White is in a very, very important. But can I imagine the team without Ben White? I can.
You can, exactly.
But I can't imagine this team. This team is defined by Bukayo Saka. This team is defined by William Saliba and Gabriel at this point, and Declan Rice and Raya. I don't think it should be defined by Martin Odegaard, and that's okay. And Odegaard, there's game states for Odegaard, etc. There's more suitable games for Odegaard, but yeah, I'm just keen not to throw the baby out with the bathwater with Odegaard. Like, we may be frustrated at what he's done this season, but get the right players around him. Get an Isak in front of him. Get a Saka back next to him. We see his level again.
Yeah,
he is limited. We've known that before, but yeah.
And on that bombshell,
it's time for you to go watch Alan Sugar.
Right, come on, let's wrap this up.
Thanks so much for watching. Thanks everyone for being here on a very fun episode of TCP Live. Slim Jeezy's coming with a super chat. Love the Pod Boys. I'm from the US and going to my first match at the Emirates against Fulham next week. Have fun. Any pre or post match recommendations? Come on.
For me, always Nando's Holloway Road.
Actually, yeah, because they don't have the Nando's in the US, do they?
I don't know. Actually, I don't think they do. No, I don't think they do.
In the US. I always forget this. They have a few. Nando's Holloway Road, 100%.
Yep.
You want to get Fino Pitta, is my recommendation. Fino Pitta. What was I going to say? Yeah, just like, I mean, you could try and get in the Tollington if you can. Just kind of walk around the area. Maybe go to the 12 Pins in Finsbury Park.
Yeah,
it's quite a good pub. Yeah, try and get in one of those pubs. Go to the club shop. The club shop slaps.
Yeah. Have a lap around. Look around the inside stadium. Yeah. Then suck it.
If you're there for a while, also, I know it's like a bit of a tourist thing, but I suppose you are a tourist. The stadium tour is actually quite good.
Yeah, I've done it.
So if you're free for like the time around it, maybe go to the Emirates on the day where there isn't a game. Do the stadium tour and just have a look around. But yeah, get a Nando's. That would be my recommendation. Yeah. Send in 10 super chats to stop Rohan from watching the Apprentice.
Right. We have actually gone into the time. Let's go.
Thank you, Slim Jeezy. Appreciate it. Right. Thank you all. On the murals. Yeah, go have a look at the murals. Yeah. Thanks everyone for being here. Thanks for watching us. We've got some I think the next bit of content we've got coming is actually probably a main pod. We haven't got loads to talk about this international break. So yeah. We've got a data pod next week. Yeah. And yeah, as we say, I'll tell you about it in a second. We've got a new show idea for the Cannon podcast.
You can tell me on text.
I will tell you. I will tell you because you're going to go, aren't you? Yeah. Thanks everyone. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for keeping it Arsenal as always. Oh, that's the end thing. And thanks for keeping it Arsenal.
Tens of thousands of football fans came to Highbury. Electrifying.